So I have been seeing a lot and participating in some cases in a lot of debates recently in the tabletop and Dungeons and Dragons community centered around comparing one real play production to another and one GM to another. And honestly, the conversation itself is starting to become concerning for me. First of all, it is concerning that some people can't seem to separate a matter of opinion and taste, which is pretty much all this is, from objective reality. They are mixing the two together as if their opinion determines reality. A few weeks ago, I had a debate where I was defending my preferred real play production without attacking theirs because I enjoy theirs as well. But their conclusion was that we both agreed on all of the factors that made these two productions different from each other. But because I was a fan of the one, it made me too biased to admit that everything I love about the show makes it a bad show. And I don't even know what to do with that. Unfortunately, I see a lot more of this my show or my GM is better than yours rhetoric from fans of one particular production more so than others. So it's worth pointing out that if you are doing this, whether you are a fan of Critical Role or Dimension 20, High Rollers, Adventure Zone, whatever it is, that arrogance makes you as and by association your preferred GM and your preferred show look bad more so than the one you're attacking. Just something to keep in mind. And I assume all of this is coming from our incessant need to turn everything into a team sport and the delusion that something we support being the winner somehow makes us better by extension, and it doesn't. You have contributed jack squat to any of these productions. Their successes and failures have nothing to do with you except whatever they have given you by consuming it. But the bottom line is calling any of these majorly popular shows or professional GMs superior to the others is nonsensical. It would be difficult, if not impossible, to make a subjective argument for any of these shows or any of these GMs to quantify them as better or worse than the others. Because this is all art. And everything you think is bad about one of them is the very thing that makes some people like them. And everything you like about yours is the same thing that makes some other people not like the one you like. There is no right or wrong to it. My second concern, and this is the major one, is these arguments are exacerbating an already pervasive issue in our community, i.e., the Mercer effect. And it's called the Mercer effect because Mercer's kind of the OG in the sharing real plays online. It's not because he's better than any of the others, just to make that very, very clear, is just he was where the term came from. But anyway, we already have a huge problem of fresh D&D and other tabletop players coming into the hobby expecting their GM to be like Mercer or Brennan or Holmes. And we also have a huge problem with newer GMs dealing with serious imposter syndrome because they're not holding up to those standards. And it can be argued that all of these big names in tabletop are objectively better than us no names by the sheer amount of talent and the individual GM factors they are great at in quantity. But I will not debate. I am a dog crap GM compared to Mercer or Brennan or any of the others overall. But there are things that I focus more on and things that I simply do better than any individual in that group that we're talking about. And that is what us non-professional GMs that care about the art and the hobby, and even these same pro GMs that people are trying to pit against each other, what they've been trying to get through to people is that none of these things really matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters as a GM is, are your players enjoying the game? There is no quantifying the quality of a GM by the individual dynamics that they're good at. All GMs are good at and focus on different things. And the totality of what a GM does is going to appeal to different groups of players. And if they're sharing their game with the public, it's going to appeal to different audiences. And that's, of course, entirely putting aside the additional factors of the way the production itself is put together, the way it's edited, the way it's presented, the way it's planned. All of that changes who is going to be most interested in it, and there's nothing wrong with that. The pro GMs stand out in a matter of quality because most of them are career performers. I consider myself a professional actor. I have been paid for it before, but even I am not a career actor. And we also have to take into consideration the fact that the combined experience playing these games that these pro GMs have is longer than most of us have been alive. And most of them also individually have more time playing these games than we do because a lot of us didn't start until after Critical Role or Dimension 20 came on the air. But comparing these GMs against each other makes absolutely no sense. And it does harm to the rest of the community because when newer GMs see people putting down these pros, what are they supposed to think that means about novices like themselves? So it really needs to stop for the health of the community and because it makes you look arrogant and ignorant when you say these things. Which is why when I see someone, unless of course they're just trying to stir the pot for fun, saying with any sincerity that Mercer is better than Brennan or Brennan is better than Mercer or any other combination of those, I immediately disregard all future opinions on the game from that source because if you seriously think that you can make those comparisons with any sense of objectivity, I can't trust anything else you have to say about it.